Welcome everyone to the Arts Academy podcast. Today we got our new little shared screen here with our agenda on it. A little new touch that we're gonna throw in here every week. So let's go to the next screen on the agenda. And here's what we're going to be talking about today. So we have, I sent this out to all you guys in the email and in Google Classroom. So we're going to try to touch on all these points today and answer any questions that you guys have in the chat. So Mr. Chardy, you want to start it off with graduation?
Yeah, the graduation, the virtual graduation plan has been put in place. So that's all been scheduled this week. A lot of the students who are speaking have been into school to record their pieces. Dr. Jamarella recorded his piece. Everything's going to be put together. So for the most part, everything should be good to go. And a couple people had asked, why did we move it from the 19th to the 25th, I believe is a new date. And the reason they moved it is they really don't want to make you guys have to come back and forth to campus. So they tried to move it an extra week so that everything can get in. The one thing I know right now that we're waiting for are yearbooks. I don't think anything else is being delayed except for the yearbooks. And I know the yearbooks weren't in. I was in the building yesterday and they still weren't in yesterday. So I know they're supposed to be in this week. And then I guess Mr. Boucher just mentioned before we went live that he'll be in next week. I think Ms. Alvarez will be in also. I know I'll be in, and I guess we'll be putting everybody's yearbooks into their bags so that they can pick them up when they're invited to campus.
All right. Next on our list is scheduling. I know that everybody who selected that they wanted to change their major or they wanted a double major was sent a Google form. So just make sure that you fill out the Google form. And my phone went off. Just make sure you set off the Google form and send it back to, or just fill it out so that way your guidance counselors can get you on the list to change major or double major. Anything we want to add to that, or?
The only thing I would add to it is a lot of people had emailed about the Google form. When is the form going to be sent? When can I send in my information? And looking at the form right now, there were 46 students who asked for a change of major. Only 4 or 5 of them have been completed. So we need that form complete. I know the due date is tomorrow, but we need that form complete so we can assess if there's room for you to get into that particular major, whatever that major may be. If you're interested in a performing arts major, make sure that you go onto Google Classroom. I know I posted it. I don't know if anybody else posted it, but there is an audition process for performing arts, any of the 4 performing arts majors. So you're going to want to make sure you put that audition tape or set of questions or song together, put it on film, and send it to the teacher.
If you didn't get the Google form, make sure you reach out to Mr. Boucher or Ms. Alvarez, and they will send you a copy. But definitely have all that information done by tomorrow if you want to change your major. So, out of the 40-something people, if you want to change your major still, you need to fill out that form so you can get on there. I was about to mute her because she was loud, but next on the list, we have cleaning out lockers. I think Mr. Ricciardi already mentioned that for the seniors, that's going to be part of the package that you come pick up at the school.
I believe that will be there. They're going to be cleaning out lockers next week. So when you do come to school, I know seniors, I think that's going to be part of your package. Underclassmen, I don't have information on that right now. I think they're worried about the seniors first, and then they'll get back to the underclassmen after that when they can come and get their things. But the lockers have not been cleaned out yet.
Okay. We'll mute her unless she needs to say something. Next was the senior Chromebooks. So you should have gotten in Google Classroom a note from Mr. Ricciardi about what to do if you want to keep your Chromebook. So your Chromebook is right now managed by by our network, And so what they have to do is they have to get it off of our network and make it just an independent device so you can manage it yourself. So right now it's connected to your Google Apps for Education HCST email address. What they would do is they would take that off and you could sign in with any Gmail address that you want. So if you want your Chromebook to work after you graduate, you need to follow the steps in Google Classroom. There's a post about it. Reach out to your guidance counselor, or send a tech request to the tech department, and they could walk you through it. Eventually, you're going to have to send out a text or a message to the tech department. So
I had one senior who had so far had a problem to submitting a ticket, so I did it for them. I just needed their the tag number on the bottom and the I guess whatever barcodes they have on the bottom of the computer. So just send an email to me or Alvarez, and we can do it for you if you're having a problem submitting a ticket.
Yeah.
And so Ms. Reyes has a question.
Yeah.
I guess the best way to answer that, if you can reach out, or if Luke can reach out to Ms. Arders or Ms. Servan, let them know what's needed. They could always put it in my room, or just as long as they let me know, what it is that should be going to Luke when he shows up, or any other student. By all means, I can handle that and make sure that he gets that, because I'll be in the building next week when all this stuff is being handed out to students. So I can accommodate that. They don't really want students in the building, specifically in the classrooms. So that's why they're trying to address all of this, so that they can come out and pick up their stuff from outside or in the gym. Just for purposes of larger gatherings, they want to keep the gatherings as small as possible. So everything's going to be divided out, half hour, 20 minutes apart, for students when they do come in the building. Even teachers, right now the teachers are coming in. What did they send out, Dr. Jamarella? About a half an hour each for teachers to come in, and then they're trying to get teachers out so the next group of teachers can come in and clean out their stuff. So they're being very, very careful with the decisions that they're making right now. What if I use the school email for accounts? Am I able to keep it? Do you guys know that? I don't think.
Yes.
I think
your school. I know that your school email will work up until about as an email. Your school email will work as an email up until about October. After that, your hcstonline.org email account won't work. But if you use that account as a username or something for other services, that might work. But if you ever have to reset your password, the email that they're going to send it to doesn't exist anymore. If you use the sign in with Google and used your HCST account for that won't work anymore after they purge the email addresses. Usually they don't get around to it over the summer. Usually it's a September, October kind of thing. But definitely, if you want your emails, export them off to your own Gmail address. If you want everything in your Google Drive, which I think you should, you should change them all to be safe. Yeah. But if you want everything in your Google Drive, which is, this is all your schoolwork. You worked hard on it for the last 4 years. Might as well keep it. You never know when you might want it. It's just a digital file. It doesn't take up that much room. So definitely export it all off to your own personal Google Drive somewhere, or whatever else you want to use in the future. But doing it sooner rather than later is smarter. But it'll still be there probably up until September, October.
Can Jared not speak? What's going on right now?
I don't know. He's muted.
He's typing. He's not speaking.
Oh no, I can talk. It's just easier to keep it documented for me.
Jared, pick up. I'll give you my opinion, and then maybe you know better than me. But I would recommend, if you don't have your own Gmail account, to create your own Gmail account now. Pick a name that obviously you want to send out. Use a college, and I'm sure college is going to give you an email anyway. But you may want something that is off the college server. And like Mr. Gongora just said, you want to get your documents. You have some time right now, right? We're all kind of at home. You want to get your documents off of whatever you have at school and get it onto another Gmail account. And not for nothing, within the last 2 years, I've really moved over to Gmail, and it's very, very convenient. I think there are limitations though, right? You can only have 15 gigs.
Yeah.
right, with a private account. I know the school
Yeah,
account.
unless you have a lot of videos or audio files on there, you're really not going to get even close to your limit with just documents.
Right.
So all of you guys are probably going to have a college email address too, but eventually that's going to run out. You should definitely have your own personal Gmail, and it shouldn't be like, something stupid. It should be like your name. If you need to put a number at the end because your name's not available, or a dot somewhere in the middle, it should be something professional that you could put on a resume or send to somebody who you're getting a job with. It shouldn't be like Fortnite killer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna want a professional email because you're going to need it no matter what in the end. And having something that looks professional and then something that's aside from your school accounts is always extremely useful because you will have that access no matter what. And school account, you never know when they'll get rid of it after you graduate. So like I personally have like a different set of emails just for certain things like that. Like I have my work email, school email, freelance email, and everything set just for differentiation for those things. So along with that, I'd recommend like whatever Google Drive files that you have within the school to save a copy at least to a personal Google Drive or even to your own personal computer or hard drive, just so you have those things set aside.
It's also pretty ridiculous how much stuff on our school email we can save. We can literally save everything, right? Because we have unlimited. It's pretty ridiculous. Like there are things from 2 years ago that I didn't even know I opened. I opened it once and it saved, and I find it every once in a while. I try to delete some of that stuff out, but you're very spoiled at school, and I'm sure if you're whatever college you go to, if it works off of Google, you're going to have an unlimited access also. So you may even want to do that early in September if you have a lot of documents or videos, especially some kids, Jared, that work with you, may have some interactive media, documents or bigger files. They may want to wait until September, October, get their college email address, and then just transfer everything from high school over there, just in case they need it for any reason later on.
Yeah, I usually set up my Google Drive so that I have access, so everything's saved under me along with them.
Right.
So that way, after they graduate, because I've had students email me who graduate like, hey, do you happen to have these files I needed for like to show for another project or portfolio work and everything like that? So I at least have access to them, and then they save it to their own personal things. Along with that, any pretty much application or website or anything like that you use your school email to sign in, I always recommend to be safe and try to transfer that to a personal email, because you never know when you might need to reset a password on something, because there's things that happen every day that like say, hey, we have
to reset your password. The service might reset your password, and then now you're locked out.
Exactly. So it's always good because you don't want to lose whatever access you already have to those accounts in order to essentially like start from scratch. So it's always good to try to switch it to a personal email and a personal account before, like sooner than later, and things like that.
And then Mr. Bush, is another question.
Yeah, I was about to say,
there you go.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I don't see why we can't send it to the actual.
It will be. It definitely will be. Both transcripts will be sent to the college. Official transcripts will be sent to the college, and a copy of the transcript will be sent to the student. So the student will have a copy of their transcript. I think in order
we should have them available. I mean, if the grades are due today for seniors, we should have them available by tomorrow and Monday the latest.
And that's actually the last thing on our agenda right now is that if you are a senior, remember that grades are due today. So just make sure that you are getting all your work in, you're submitting all your last assignments, and at the end of the day, your grades are final and you're done with high school. We also have Miss Mitzer, who just joined us. So hello.
Hi.
Would you have any update about the yearbook arrivals?
Yeah, they should be in today.
Oh, okay. Good.
Then I need to sort them and pack them all up for the kids. So I guess I should be done by next week sometime.
No.
Oh, he definitely hopes you're done by next week.
Yeah. But it's also whenever I can get a babysitter, because what would I do if I bring them?
Listen, you could always bring them to school. There are a couple of people at school that would be glad to put the stroller around a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Not me. I'm not volunteering, by the way. I have my own
Cool to get away.
Yeah, I do that enough. I walk miles and miles with the stroller. So, next up is September. So unless you have something to add right now, we are planning on coming back in September. But nothing is official. Keep a listening to what the governor says over the next. He probably won't address this really this month. So I would wait. As he does his briefings over the summertime, I'm sure they're going to wait to see what happens in July as more things start to reopen. And they'll look at the data in August and they'll make a firm decision about what we are allowed to do for coming back in September. But as of now, we're having normal school unless something changes.
And again, the reason I even put it on the agenda is because questions keep coming to me, and when we were at school, Victoria and Mr. Simon, Mr. Ra, and Dr. Giamarello all mentioned that people keep emailing what's going to happen in September. And as Mr. Gangora just said, we're planning as if we're going to be fully in, come September, whatever date that is, 8th, 9th, I think is on the calendar, that the teachers will be in. Unfortunately, based on the circumstances that may present themselves, we really don't know. So there's nothing set in stone for September. The plan is to be there full strength. But by the same token, we all know that just last week there was a survey sent out to parents. In that survey, parents were asked to basically answer, I think it was a few questions, 3 or 4 questions, that basically said if we're open in September, are you going to send your child to school? So based on the data that comes back from that, there may be an adjustment to the schedule. I don't really know. Again, that was sent out from the state level. I believe all districts are doing that. So I'm not really sure how we're going to adjust based on that information. But there's obviously a reason that they asked about that information.
Harvey, I can answer Harvey's question. They will be part of when you pick up all your stuff, yes.
Yes, the letters. Are there any plans for an in-person graduation ceremony even in July? That is not something that I'm aware of right now. I don't really know. Again, that's going to be determined on a district level, and that'll be determined by our superintendent, Ms. Amy Lynn Rodriguez, and the 3 principals of the 3 buildings. And then they kind of tell us, what we're going to do. So I don't know. I know that it's possible. I know the governor put out a plan for it. I know we have to put a formal proposal in sometime in July, and it takes anywhere from 5 to 7 days to get that plan, put in place and approved. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Was there another one? Do teachers?
Ariana asked about seniors still needing to sign in.
Yes, they should be signing in until the 19th. Actually, teachers and students should be signing into the 19th. Even seniors, I know your work should be done today, but as of right now, make sure you sign in.
Yeah, even in previous years, seniors still had to come to school and go to homeroom. So this is still kind of like that. You still have to go sign in until the last day of school. Returning books that were borrowed from English classes, calculators. If somebody has a calculator, how are we getting those back? Or you just bring them back when you come pick up your stuff?
Again, I don't have a total answer for that. I know it's been mentioned. It was mentioned at our math meeting. It was mentioned the other day when I was at school also. Mr. Bono, right, in the office mentioned calculators when we were talking to him. I don't really know. I would assume when the students do come to pick up their stuff, whatever you may have at home, whether it be books, calculators, you bring all that stuff. There may be an exchange. We may be giving you your locker contents. You give us your books, calculators. I don't really know the answer for that. I'm assuming something will be sent home so that that's all set up and put into place. Mr. Baldassari, we sent an email on Sunday saying it was up to the individual schools. As of right now, Dr. Giamarello hasn't made any decision about that. So if it is up to him, he hasn't made a decision and told me about it.
All right. So next is summer school. So summer school, pretty much the only programs that we're running for us is acceleration for math. So if you're part of that program, you definitely should know about it. Your teacher should have been in touch with you. If you have failed a class and you need to take summer school, Mr. Bush, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, we know for sure that Jersey City is offering virtual summer school, but only for grades 10, 11, 12. If you're a ninth grader, you have to take, like, say if it's English, science, math, you have to take it on Eduseer. Bayonne's doing a virtual one. The signups, I think, start June 29th. Jersey City deadline's tomorrow, so if we see that any Jersey City resident is failing, we will sign them up by tomorrow, myself and Ms. Alvarez, and then I guess if they don't need it anymore, once the final grades are in next week, then we could just send an email saying that they don't need it anymore. North Bergen and Guttenberg are not having summer school, which means Eduseer. West New York's only going through Eduseer, and that's all we got so far. We haven't heard from Union City is very hard to get in touch with, so we don't know what they're doing yet. So it's either if the district is doing their own summer school or Eduseer, which is pretty pricey. So, you know, I hope nobody really has to resort to that.
Yeah, and I know there was talk of us having our own remedial online summer school classes or during the year classes, but we just never got to finishing that program, so it's not available this year. So you have to look at it out of either from your hometown or from Eduseer.
Mr. Bush, do you know how much Eduseer is? Is it 300, 500?
Yeah, for credit recovery, it's less than full year. I think it might be around $299, $399. Let me just confirm that.
Okay. And Harvey, she overheard some seniors will be getting awards. Yes, they will be getting awards. Some seniors at graduation, but those are surprises to those students. So those awards aren't public knowledge right now. So you'd have to tune in.
Maybe you'll get one. You have to tune in to find out.
Tune into the virtual graduation.
Okay, it depends on the class. It could be $195. It could be $295. It just depends on the class.
All right. And I think unless we have anything to add for change of major or double major update, I think we talked about that when we talked about scheduling.
Yes.
I think that covers most of our agenda for today.
Yeah, well, when it comes to scheduling the first one, I think I put both of those on there. I don't remember what I put on there and what I didn't. But the first one, the update was that the forms were sent out to get the updates. And then the actual update is that as of now, there are 7 people. So someone must have sent it in after I said sent it in. So there are 7 people who sent in their form so far. And again, if you are looking to double major or change your major, please make sure if you're going to try to go to performing arts that you do the audition procedures, whatever they are for the major that you want. And they're different for drama, musical theater, music and audio, tech, and dance. Obviously, is going to be different. So just pay attention to that.
Harvey wants a geometry award.
Listen, if you want one, I haven't assigned one, but I would be glad to give you one. The awards are only going to go.
You can get the I worked my butt off, my whole butt off award. For
yeah, the whole butt off. Yeah, the awards are only for senior classes, so it's basically like you would think it would be a culmination of 4 years, but they really reward all the senior classes with an award for senior year. So, but you get my geometry award. You acknowledged on the podcast.
In front of the world.
In front of the world. And that was it, Tom?
That's it from the agenda. If anybody else has any other questions,
that's about it. For right now, we'll do a podcast next week. It may be a little difficult for myself and Mr. Buccio. We're gonna have to figure out what time at school.
Yeah, next Thursday would be a tough one. It might have to be Wednesday.
We could do it Wednesday too, or maybe we could do it from school. Just do it before we leave.
That's true. That's true.
Something like that. But we'll definitely do one next week. And then we would like to continue doing a podcast throughout the summer, just because I'm sure there are going to be questions like Mr. Baldassari asked about, and Ms. Reyes asked about a graduation ceremony. I'm sure there'd be questions about that. I'd be glad to answer them when I get more information. Also with the agenda, if anybody has anything that they would like us to discuss, what I basically did with the agenda is as emails came in, I knew that we wanted to address it so that we didn't forget to address it. I just sent it out in the agenda. Mr. Gangora, Mr. Buccio, and Ms. Alvarez all have access to just throw their own stuff up there. So even if there's other teachers in the Arts Academy that have anything that they want addressed, by all means, let me know. I'd hate to come on here and say I don't know. I'd rather go get the answers so that we have answers for you by the time we go on the air for the podcast. So unfortunately, there are some things I just don't know. I know that we don't know about the picking up stuff yet out of the locker contents. I guess we don't know about books and calculators. So I guess we'll try to find that out. And then the last thing we don't know about would just be, I guess, a graduation ceremony over the summer. Those are things that we just don't have access to telling you. All right.
Bridget, unfortunately, I thought that the cutoff for AP Calc was going to be a 90 average for the first 3 marking periods. It was a minimum 90 for the first 3 marking periods. So your first 2 marking periods messed you up a little bit. But you can still take regular calc. So
I looked at Bridget's registration at some point, and she was asking for a lot of classes. So she should be able to fill that up pretty good.
So realize that AP Calc would have taken up 2 periods.
Yeah, I know
now
she had
with
a lot of requests.
With regular Calc, you can take an extra class. So
what's her name on the Bridget? Off the top of my head, I may be wrong, but I thought you were trying to double major too. I could be wrong. I think you may be on that sheet too. So, but I know she had a lot of course requests, so that was good.
Let me see.
Very, very ambitious.
We'll see if we can get Miss Alvarez in here for the end.
Hi guys, I'm sorry. It was a bad storm. Luckily I got off because it was really raining really hard. So
Yeah, it's bad out there.
It's just dark. But I think we're ready to wrap it up. Unless anybody has any other questions that they want us to address. Everybody, make sure that seniors get all your stuff done today. I got to update a couple of people's grades that they sent me work in the last 20 minutes. So at least they're getting it in.
The podcast was the reminder. We reminded them about the form. We had 2 forms come in about your work.
Let's see if I can get.
Thank you, Ms. Reyes. Happy Father's Day.
yeah, that was sweet of her.
Oh, good. And the only senior I was waiting for, it just submitted her test as well. So that means that all my seniors did their work. So good job. Thank you for Ms. Reyes. For Father's Day is coming up. For all of you to remember that it is Father's Day, so do something nice to your father. And
a week and a half to get him a gift. A week and a half.
Anybody else want to jump in for anything?
No, I think that's it. Ms. Alvarez, do you have anything? We went over the whole agenda. It was pretty straightforward. Move through it. Is she frozen? I think she's frozen.
She's frozen and I hear rain.
And she doesn't look too happy either.
No, she doesn't. I think she's lagging behind and just frozen.
Uh-oh. Give up.
I took her off. All right.
Sleep or around the golf. That's what I recommend. If he plays golf, hopefully he does. It's the one thing I've been able to do while we can't do anything else. It's the one thing to get out and do something.
Yeah. I recommend a steak as well, but
ooh,
and a beer,
Chris,
or a whiskey.
Chris, your answer about diplomas, most likely they'll be handed out to you when you come to school. That's why they moved the the virtual graduation ceremony. So when you do come to school to pick up your stuff, most likely the diploma will be in that package.
You will probably get an email soon about it.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's about it. I think we'll sign off here. Everybody stay safe. And we'll see you next week with graduation coming up very soon. All right. Take it easy, everyone. Bye.
Later, guys.
Bye-bye.